about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump created a big disruption in the global economy because he does not do business the right way. It's just a different way. I'm not saying it's wrong. Okay? So there are a lot of things, especially now in the year 2000, that the letter D has been there. Laging maraming disruptions like AI. Diba? So, before I do that, let me talk about economic indicators that matter. And this is something you need to learn by heart. No? The first is GDP growth. So this is eventually the average speed of the growth of the economy. But understanding the number, marami nagsasabi, ano ba yung tamang number? We should grow 3 times our population growth. When it was crafted as an indicator in the early 1990s, our population growth was 2.1%. So we should grow at least 6%. So that 6% should be continued over the next 6 to 7 years. Now, the challenge is consistency. Prior to the pandemic, we were growing between 5 to 6% for over 40 quarters before the pandemic. So we were doing well. Okay? The second one is inflation rate. This is the most important number because this is your rate of return. Okay? Don't be fooled by the number of government, which is 1.4%. That is just an indicator. When you talk to your clients, measure the inflation of your client. Kung katulad nung sinabi ni Vance, nagkita sila sa kitchenette. So yung inflation doon mababa, baka 5%. Pero nagkita kayo sa hotel, lagi kayo nagkikita sa hotel ng kliyente nyo, malamang yung inflation dyan, nasa 10 to 12%. That means your rate of return should be higher than those numbers. Otherwise, you're losing to inflation. Now, you want to gauge your own, pumunta kayo sa grocery. Tingnan nyo yung increase ng gastos nyo. That should be your hurdle rate. And that means it's always double digit. Now, interest rates is the cost of doing business. It's always higher than inflation. So ito yung yield na hinahanap natin. Okay? And the last, foreign exchange. Foreign exchange is a measure of competitiveness. Diba? Most of Filipinos during December of 2024, saan sila nagbakasyon? Sa tingin nyo, saan sila pupunta? Japan. Because it was the cheapest. Because the exchange rate went to as low as 160 yen to $1. So, the cheaper the currency is, the more it becomes palatable to tourists. Look what happened to, just like Bohol. Okay? Flights from Korea were down from 9 flights to 4 flights. Okay? And it was a combination of political issues, but also the appreciation of the peso in the first half of the year. Remember, we ended at 57.45. Now we're back to the 57 level. But we went to as low as 55. Okay? So these are very important. Okay? So the one in red is highlighting the impact of the trade war, populism, and US politics. These are the things that has changed in 2025 when Donald Trump became president on June 20, 2025. Now, when we think about the 3 important things or themes, the first is AI. Any company that is respectable would always want to invest as much as 30% of their money or capex into AI and digitalization. That is very important. It creates efficiency and productivity for these companies. Okay? The second one is climate resilient infrastructures. If you think flooding is happening here just in the Philippines, look at the other parts of the world. Okay? This is part of the climate change that is already happening. We need to be able to invest more in climate resilient infrastructures. The third is tariff. This is eventually the biggest problem the world is facing. It is also a good source of taxes for governments. Eventually, Donald Trump weaponized it so that it will create a resilient U.S. economy. Okay? So the chart that you see here is highlighting the impact of the US, UK, that after World War I and II, they've used them as tools to make their economy better. Okay? So of course, I'd like to talk about Donald Trump as a Star Wars saga. So 2016 was A New Hope, especially for Filipinos. Eventually, in 2020 was Return of the, you have the Empire Strikes Back, and of course, Return of the Jedi, which is now Trump. Trump is much stronger today, and most of his policies have been being implemented. Okay? So starting April 2, you've already announced the tariff. And for the Philippines at that time, 17% tariff will be laid on Philippine exports to the US. As of today, it's at 20%. And it's one of the cheapest or one of the lowest. And most of this will happen on August 1. Okay? So, however, in terms of the rest of the Trump administration, they've been telling the market that, hey, don't be scared if the stock market fell, the dollar depreciated, because things are going to get better. And it seems he's getting what he wants. Okay? But one of the things that Trump has done, and again, it appears to be better compared to the art of war, is that he's able to do the art of deal. By imposing higher tariffs, all of the other countries have fell in line to discuss how to do the trade deal. Now, what is so important about this trade deal is so that the deficit that the US has to sustain its economy will be favorable to them. Remember, as I said earlier, when the US catches the cold, Asia gets the flu. So if the US economy is doing better, as JFK said, a rising tide lifts all boats. Okay? So if the US economy is doing well, the rest of the world will. Okay? So now, the US Central Bank or the Fed has stayed on the sidelines because they feel that the tariffs will add inflation and currency volatility. The recent number of US inflation is at 2.7%. It is higher than 2.4%. What does this mean for you and me? The US will not cut interest rates. So, not cutting interest rate will make the dollar stronger. That's why the last 3 days, the peso has depreciated because of this. Okay? And it will continue to do so. So I believe that at this point in time, the base scenario will eventually materialize. So most likely, we're still hopeful of a 50 basis point cut by the Fed. Okay? And sad to say that the situation today in the US and in the Philippines is very similar to the 1970s. A few months back, we had the Israel-Iran war, and this was very similar to the first Israel war that happened in the 70s that created the energy crisis. So why am I showing you all this? I'd like all of you to probably take a photo, read it later, but the most important is the effect to financial markets. In the 70s, it created a rising interest rate environment, wherein in the 1980s, 20% was the US interest rate. Okay? So right now, US interest rates are at 4.5%. Okay? So this is eventually a potential risk, especially with Trump's tariffs. That's why it seems like it's yesterday once more. Okay? So when we talk about global interest rates, this is from 2018 to the present. Look, it bottomed out in 2020. Okay? For most of you, since 2000, Philippine interest rates was on a downtrend. Most of the funds on fixed income made so much money. This time, it's gonna be different. It's a rising interest rate environment. Okay? So, this is the yield curve of the US. And if you look at the 10 years to 20 years, they're already rising to 5%. The last time we've seen that was around 2007. Again, 2007 to 2008 was the period of the global financial crisis. Okay? So, let's talk about the Philippines. So, we have now a global picture that the US economy is resilient, yet our challenges remain due to tariff and higher interest rates. Now, in the Philippines, we are unique. We have a demographic sweet spot, meaning 50% of our Filipinos are young, wild, and free. I was there once. Okay? But the key factor really is consumption and growth and investment will prosper. Now, to those who are still below 30, you need to build capital. Okay? Michael Douglas in Wall Street 2 highlighted the Gen Z as the ninja economy. No income, no assets. Why? Because it's a sharing economy. You want a house or you want a place to live, you can do an Airbnb. You need to travel, you have Grab. Right? So it's a sharing economy that you don't need to buy assets, but you need to build these assets. Okay? And one thing about the Philippines against our peers, the Philippines is doing its build, build, build. Okay? I made a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So I'd only like to focus on the opportunity. Okay? The one in green, it always means positive, blue, negative. Okay? If you ask me why, I'll tell you later. But when you talk about the opportunities in the Philippines, that's digitalization that we want to look at. The second is that we have a lot of young people who are able to provide the needs of the new economy, whatever it means. Okay, right now our unemployment rate is 4.1%. Our long-term average is 7.5%. What is worrisome today is that our underemployment is still double-digit at 10.8%. Sad to say, when I was starting in the 1990s, the underemployment, the reasons who they don't get employed is that they didn't finish college. The majority of the underemployed today are college graduates. Why? They don't have the skills of the new economy. Digital skills for the digital age. AI, data science, which you need to relearn. And most of the time who are successful in this are basically the old ones. Diba? When you talk to ChatGPT, it's like prayer. You have to be specific. But if you don't know what you want, it's difficult. Diba? When you want to speak and talk about the markets, you have to make it easy. Diba? You need to make it insightful and actionable on the part of your client, right? Okay, so this is the outlook on the Philippines just in one page. So when we talk about the Philippines, what's our strength? Resilient market, consumer market, that's you and me. We want renewable energy. Okay? But what do we need to look for so that our economy will grow? Reforms, continued infrastructure, and of course, we need to be recognizant of the challenges, which is rising interest rates and the weaker peso. So despite that, our outlook for GDP is looking at 6%. But the challenge is that as of the first quarter, it's 5.4. So it's a good target to try 6%. But if the second quarter will only print 5.6, we'll end the year at 5.8. Inflation, I believe, will be 1.3 to around 1.5. Okay? So there's room for interest rate cuts. Now, for the peso, sad to say, I believe that a weaker peso is good for our economy. It's good for our OFWs, no? Especially for you, they're your clients. Mas mahina yung piso, they will start looking at investing for their families. Okay? So, when we talk about the Philippines, I'm still looking at the base case of 6%, an inflation of 2.8%, and the peso at 58.90. So what can trigger 59? If Donald Trump will change the tariff on the Philippines again from 20 to a higher number, that will be the problem. Or other countries will have higher tariffs, therefore there will be competitive devaluation. So ano po ba yung competitive devaluation? Dahil mataas yung tariff, to offset the tariffs, they will slowly depreciate their currency. Diba? Especially for us, as you get older, you want to get noticed. You need to, especially for the single, you need to peacock. Yung peacocking po para how do I say this? Para makita kayo or mapuna kayo. So, diba? So, some people will wear short shorts, wear sleeveless, diba? To get noticed. But a country can only do it through a currency weakness or build more infrastructure. So that's what I'm worried about. Okay? So, the Philippine Central Bank has done a lot to bring down interest rate, which is good. Now, when we talk about inflation, look at 2015, 2019, and where we are at today. Inflation for May is 1.3, but June is 1.4. Every time we go below 2%, look what happens. Diba? Sinabi ko kanina, history repeats itself. And I'd like all of you to look at the blue line. Diba? Pwedeng hindi na bumaba yung central bank rate. That's the risk. And that also, despite hindi sila gumalaw, the interest rates could rise. Okay? So, look at rice. You have fish, meat, and vegetables. All in green has been rising since start of the year. It's only rice. So, I can tell you that until August or September, rice inflation will be low. But after that, that's why my forecast could move back to 2.8%. So that is our risk. Okay? Now, the impact of the tariffs to the Philippines is that definitely we will not be export competitive. So that will mean higher costs. So that will mean less dollars coming into the country. But the main impact, it's very minimal, but the main impact to us is higher inflation because we import practically everything, including sibuyas, diba? Garlic, let's face it. Okay? So that will translate to higher prices. Now, this is actually another issue. Why do I say shifting sands? The last 2 days, over the sidelines of this conference, marami nagtatanong, bakit pati savings tinatax ng 20%? Hello, matagal na po yan. Okay? For simplicity's sake, ang ginawa lang po ng ating gobyerno, any investment that is over 5 years and 1 day na dating tax exempt is already taxable with 20%. Okay? However, stock transaction tax has dropped from 1/4 of 1% to 1/8 of 1%. It is just simplifying, giving you alternative potential investments. Okay? So, time deposit, subject to 20%. Okay? So now, the government, realizing all of these issues, have presented a lower growth target. They're prepared, and that's the reason why we need to adjust where we can get additional revenue to continue our infrastructure program. Okay? So, of course, uncertainty lies with the impeachment. Definitely, this will be noise. But for us in the financial market, what is important is that government continues its day-to-day activities with infrastructure, business continues as normal. So, however, a lot of analysts has already flagged this political uncertainty would slower growth. But what has affected us in the last few months is really all about the tariff. So, the impeachment will know after they start the trial. Now, in the Philippines, there is a very similarity to that of the 70s. Again, just like the US. Okay? Not because the president is also a Marcos, but in 1976, we embarked on a public infrastructure program. And in 2016, under President Duterte, we started that infrastructure program. That affected us because we borrowed money in terms of providing infrastructure. So this eventually was the reason why Filipinos love high interest rates. But in the 1980s, one-year rates were at 40%. 3-month rates were at 20%. Okay, so yan yung naging challenge natin. And right now, just like the chart I showed you earlier, global interest rates are on the rise. Okay? So the yield curve, despite the central bank talking about interest rates going down, this is from 1 month to 25 years. Look at 10 years and above. Okay? So nasa 6%. And if you want a good hurdle rate, you can look at 25 years, which is also at 6%. So again, this is the dilemma for a lot of investors. Do you invest long-term or you stay short-term? Okay? To me, the best level to watch are the 4 and 5 because that's actually where the yield curve or the belly of the yield curve is flat. Okay? So, this is where my fear, interest rates in 2018 was moving up. Please look at the blue line and look at it where it is now. Yan ang fear ko. Pataas yung interest rate. Okay? But, this is what's driving the peso. What's driving the peso is the 10-year US Treasuries. So if you want a benchmark to look at where the peso is heading, just look at the 10 years. So you can create a chart over the internet between the peso and the 10-year US Treasuries. Okay? So this is where I think the peso is in the next 4 years. Nakita niyo na yung magic number? 61 to 65. Okay? Because most of the other countries will want to sell more of their exports. They will depreciate their currency so that they will look inexpensive or cheaper to their potential clients. That's going to be the effect of tariffs and secondary inflation effects. Okay? And, okay, as I said, will history repeat itself? This is October 2016 and October 2024 in black, Philippine peso. This is what happened during the time of Donald Trump. And this is what happened Donald Trump 2.0. Okay? So, is this something to be worried about? No. This is the opportunity you're waiting for. Look at the stock market. In 2018, we reached 9,000. Okay? Right now, the stock market is down by 30%. Kayo, sanay kayo pumunta sa 3-day sale. Diba? So, you get 30, 40, 50% in this 3-day sale. Okay? Pero bakit kayo hindi bumibili sa 30%? Diba? If you buy a company that provides dividend in the Philippine stock market, they offer 6.5 to 7.5%. That's why your equity funds are doing well. Diba? Dividend yields are only subject to 10% tax. If you use a company who is the buyer of the stock, tax between companies are zero. So you don't get taxed. So that is the beauty. This is the opportunity that you want. Now, let me just give you, I still have less than 8 minutes, but let me tell you something. From the 1970s, the stock market index was at 100. By 1986, it was at 500. It took 16 years from 1970 to 1986. That was 600%. Okay? So from 1997, all the way down to 2002 was the correction. Okay? From the time of Joseph Estrada, when he was taken out of office, all the way to 2018, that's 890%. And that was 16 years. So, this is now your opportunity of a lifetime. Ngayon, kung naniniwala kayo sa Pilipino, naniniwala kayo sa Pilipinas, the only thing that you have to look at is your children. If you look at your children's photos, di ba, you'll do everything. Di ba? Di ba, the children is our future. So, when you think of that, think about investing in your children. So this is the opportunity. So, of course, interest rates may be bad now, but things will get better. Okay? So, again, is there a proper time to invest? So, Ecclesiastes 11 to verse 4 will tell you that farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest. So there's no proper time to invest. Kailangan lang para kayong Nike. Just do it. O, diba? So, again, when you talk about telling your client where to invest, bakit maganda yung economy, this is where infrastructure spending, the weak peso, and disruptive technologies will tell you. Consumer, property, utility, logistics, and of course, manufacturing are key stories. The other things, of course, is tourism is a beneficiary if there is a weaker peso. So, of course, I mentioned most of the concerns. It's all in one slide. But hey, we've seen this since the pandemic. Nakayanan natin, we're already here, we're 2025. So, carry lang. Diba? So, the world events, when we talk about how do we address these issues, so when we talk about trade wars, we need to pivot to other areas where we're wanted as a country. OFW, let's go to Europe kung nahirapan tayo sa US. Diba? So when we talk about slower growth, we're doing a lot of infrastructure spending. Kaya green. Diba? Now, when we talk about geopolitics, as for our OFWs, stay away from the Middle East and the US. Okay? Right now, oil prices are stable, but the central bank has been doing a good job in managing the currency. Okay? And of course, we have issues with the West Philippine Sea and China. We don't have a mighty navy, but we have a mighty God. the only thing that we can do is pray. Di ba? And then of course, one of the more important is cyber attacks, especially for each and every one of us that have adopted digitalization. I have one advice from a former banker. Okay? You just have to use your own data. Okay? Doing things using free Wi-Fi exposes you to a lot of risk. Lalo na when you go for a hotel Wi-Fi, do banking transactions, you don't have a virtual private network, kaya nilang makuha yung password. You share another computer to do banking transaction, learn to clear the history. Okay? These are things that you should do. Okay? So, these are the things that companies should do now in trying to aid the economy. Government has done a lot of things on the left side. For us, for companies to be better, one of the most important is social listening. Be ready to listen to your clients. Diba? Kasi they'll be the one to tell you what they need. Okay? So, my reasons for optimism is that the budget is here. The government is spending. And our interest rates, despite the rising, we're already trading as if we're an investment grade A company. Okay? The Philippines is in a much better shape today than any point in time. The only problem is that the dark clouds over the tariff and the inflationary risks is affecting us. No? But again, think of the farm of animals like you and me. Diba? Pag nagutom tayo, gagastos tayo. That's what makes the Philippine economy resilient. Okay? So, let me end this by talking about a chorus from the Greek play Antigone. Not only do men move about an enchanted landscape, the landscape itself is constantly in motion, and men best be quick enough to move. If they aren't, they go through the cracks that open under their feet. So, I have one way of trying to share my economic briefings in a very simple way. The acronym is PRAY. Okay? Patience. Okay? R is for Ravelas. Hindi pala. Research. Okay? A is for adaptability. Ang outlook, hindi static. It's ever-changing. And Y is yield. Now, kung talagang nag-iisip ka pa, gusto mo pang i-extend to prayer, E, endurance. R, resilience. Okay? So, if you want to scare yourself and want to hear my views, at Ravelas J on X. Okay? So, let me end this by giving you a few things to think. When you make your investment or make a pitch to a client, appreciate your resources. The Philippine economy today is in a better shape. Diba? It's just like outside. It's a bit gloomy, but you know that the sun is somewhere there. Diba? So, we're doing a lot of things. We just have to be patient. Know the risks ahead. We know the risk ahead. It's the tariff. But if we compensate by spending, we compensate by asking our clients to invest more so that government can use that money to do more infrastructure. Diba? That's why keep investing. So yung stock market, as I said, hindi masyadong pumasok kasi 30% discount. Let me put it this way. The Philippine stock market today is like a fried chicken. Ang cost niyan between 350 to 500. But the actual value of your stock market today, whether you talk about an interest rate that's rising, is around 2,500. Para siyang Peking duck. So just think about that analogy. So, pay the right taxes. We need to do that to help government. Spend wisely or spend more. You know where? And our most important tool, pray harder. Thank you and good morning.
What an